There has been rise in external fraud post-COVID. Over 95% organizations in India have experienced new fraud incidents in the past 2 years as per PwC survey. Hello and welcome to VAR India News Hour. Following the outbreak of the COVID-19 pandemic, uncertainties associated with it, and the subsequent shift to digital operations and remote working, businesses have been exposed to new risks related to digital security, employee safety, and disinformation. These in turn have led to new incidents of fraud. 52% of Indian companies experienced fraud or economic crime in the last 24 months, and an overwhelming 95% of these have experienced new types of fraud as a result of the disruption caused by COVID-19. It is as per the report of PwC on the Global Economic Crime and Fraud Survey 2022 India Insights. Nearly 67% of organizations in India that experienced fraud reported that the most disruptive incident came via an external attack or collusion between external and internal sources. This proportion was 56% in the 2020 survey. On the brighter side, companies in India have been undertaking fraud prevention measures to combat fraud, which are working. 52% of Indian organizations experienced fraud or economic crime within the last 24 months, as opposed to 69% in the 2020 survey. Experts predict that with organizational perimeters becoming more vulnerable over the past 2 years, it is imperative for businesses to not only continually focus on policies, training, and internal controls, but also prioritize investing in sophisticated technologies to manage and mitigate the evolving nature of frauds. It is increasingly becoming important for organizations to understand the end-to-end life cycle of customer-facing products and also strike a balance between user experience and fraud controls. Over time, formidable actors become better at exploiting cracks. The new types of fraud experienced by companies include misconduct risks, that is 67%, legal risk, that is 16%, cybercrime, that is 31%, insider trading, that is 19%, and platform risk at 38%. Misconduct was the biggest challenge faced by organizations as bad actors began collaborating and taking advantage of pandemic-related uncertainty and volatility. Amongst organizations that reported fraud, conduct risks or risks associated with individuals within the firm or vendors, agents, and customers was the biggest threat at 90%. Fraud and economic crimes impact both big and small firms. However, the survey found frauds to be more prevalent amongst big firms. 60% of companies surveyed in India have been global annual revenues above $1 billion experienced fraud during the past 24 months. Globally, 52% of organizations with revenues over $10 billion experienced fraud. The impact on smaller companies was less extensive, as only 37% of companies in India with global annual revenues below $100 million experienced fraud during the past 24 months, that is global 38%. Indian organizations are facing multiple emerging risks that have the potential to cause greater disruption in the coming years. Supply chain fraud also has the potential to cause greater disruption in the coming years. 19% of organizations experienced it in the last 24 months. Organizations also experienced increased risks due to customer fraud, that is 30%, and KYC failure at 22% as a result of disruption caused by COVID-19. Globally, these percentages were much lower, 17% for customer fraud and 10% for KYC failure. With an increase in digital banking and payments, KYC fraud is another emerging risk that organizations need to watch out for. Let us now look into today's headlines in VAR India. Zomato to lay off 3% of its workforce. Food ordering app Zomato confirmed that it will lay off nearly 3% of its staff across the organization. Zomato stated that the layoff will be based on regular performance. The company currently employs nearly 3,800 staff. The layoffs come after 3 top-level executives quit the company in the last few weeks, including co-founder Mohit Gupta, Rahul Ganju, and Siddharth Jhawar. Madras High Court prohibits 12K websites from illegally streaming FIFA World Cup. The Madras High Court had restrained the cable and internet service providers in certain countries from telecasting the football matches to be held at the FIFA World Cup in Qatar. The plaintiff submitted that it was granted license and various media rights for Bangladesh, Bhutan, India, among many other countries, and by the FIFA World Cup Qatar 2022. In this situation, several cable and internet service providers are involved in illegal activities and unauthorized retransmitting, recording, streaming, audiovisual clips, and full sports events that are transmitted by the plaintiff, and such activities would cause heavy loss, damage, and prejudice to the plaintiff. 5G to boost India's GDP up to 2% by 2030, says Nasscom. According to a report by Nasscom, the 5G service is expected to contribute up to 2% of India's GDP by 2030, amounting to approximately $180 billion. Telecom subscriptions in India saw a CAGR of 3.3% between 2015 and 2019. During the same period, internet subscribers in India grew at a CAGR of 20.5%. Data consumption in India saw an unprecedented jump from a mere 828 million GB in 2014 to 76,320 million GB in 2019 at a CAGR of 113%. Twitter at risk of suffering outage. A lot of Twitter employees are resigning because of the new rules set by Elon Musk. He has simply told the employees that if they are not okay with his rules, then they can leave the company. But now it seems that Musk's latest move has gone wrong as several remaining employees are resigning, including the engineers. This could result in Twitter being at risk of suffering from an outage, and the important people who are leaving the company won't be there to fix the issue. CII asks government to decriminalise GST law and reduce personal income tax rates. Industry body CII has pitched for a reduction in personal income tax rates, decriminalization of the goods and services tax, and a relook at the capital gains tax rates as part of its agenda presented to the government for the forthcoming budget. The chamber said that tax certainty for businesses should continue and corporate tax rates should be maintained at the current levels, and it also added that no arrests or detention should take place in civil cases unless criminalization in business has been proved. That's all for now. Please like, share, comment and subscribe to VAR India News Magazine. You can download the VAR India app from Google Play Store and Apple App Store for the latest news and updates. Stay tuned. Thank you.